Brian Kilmeade on One Nation last night in an exclusive interview, where he said that not only was he convinced, as we reported yesterday, that the Bidens had been bribed, but that Hunter Biden was recruited to Burisma specifically to protect Burisma from anything that might step in its way of its, quote, corrupt business dealings, including protection from Washington, D.C.
It was a really good interview. I mean, Brian did a really nice job. He's going to be on our program later on in, I believe, the 8 o'clock hour. But he went step by step with the logical questions you would ask of somebody who was right in the middle of it, has been maligned, especially after he was fired, as a corrupt prosecutor himself. You asked him about that. But he specifically talked about the need for the Biden family from the view of Burisma in order to have, Will, as you talked about it, protection. Here's Victor Shokin talking to Brian Kilmeade last night.
I have no doubt that there were illegal activities engaged in by Burisma. It continued to expand. And Zlochevsky, who at the time held the post of minister and was the founder and CEO of Burisma, started bringing in people who could provide protection for him. Hunter Biden was among them. And the corruption network expanded as a result. So, yes, to answer your question, there's no doubt in my mind that Burisma was engaged in illegal activities.
At one point in the interview, Brian asked him, well, why don't you sue for defamation for all the people who say that you were corrupt, indeed, when you say you're not and you were actually doing the right thing, and in fact had memos from and letters from U.S. State Department and other officials saying, you know, good job for rooting out corruption in Ukraine. And he said, look, I live on $800 a month. I can't sue these people. I don't have the means to do that. And Brian said, well, yeah, I guess if you're corrupt, you're not really good at it. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. But this was also an interesting moment where he talked about the humiliation for him and for his country to have the U.S. come in and act like they own this country. In fact, he said that Joe Biden acts like this is his backyard and he can do whatever he wants in Ukraine. Listen to this.
Not only the position of President Poroshenko, the office of President Poroshenko was humiliated, but the entire country of the Ukraine was humiliated. And I developed a very firm understanding of the fact that the Vice President his own interests.
That's embarrassing to me as an American. I'm going to tell you what. We talk about interference in our elections, interference in our country by foreign powers, Russia. And then we go and do this kind of stuff in other countries.
This is part of what America first.
Venmo is now available for 13 to 17-year-olds.
Having my own card is great. It gives me the freedom to explore all my passions. You can track your money and see how you're spending it.
My T account lets me easily send money to my friends, so we can pay each other back. Check it out.
Very good. Gonna have us saying sorry after every time I swear now. I'm trying.
First is about listen, we understand that America has played an indispensable role across the globe for a very long time. But just like, what's the old axiom, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you have that type of power, you start to meddle and you start to get involved, and then money's involved. In this case, I don't think that Biden's cared all that much what illegal activity or corrupt activity Burisma would be doing in the country, as long as they got a cut of that and they knew exactly what their role was. Call D.C., which is another revelation we had recently. That was the role of Hunter Biden back to his father Joe, and they delivered in this case, and were able to create the perception that Shokin was the bad guy and they were the good guys.
Body ain't mounted yet. Just sitting on there. The girl's got to get glued on. Right here. That's all not glued on yet. That's all got to be sitting. Level yet. It's not really. I got it kind of propped up a little bit with a piece of wood. I got to put the mirrors on yet.
The point of this story is that if the Bidens took money from a company in Ukraine, Ukraine, they weren't serving America's interest first, but they were serving Biden's interest first. Yeah. And by the way, he began to be asked about it again yesterday. This is Lucas Tomlinson talking or attempting to ask Joe Biden some questions outside the White House.
Mr. President, anything on Jacksonville? Victor Shokin says you accepted bribes. Is that true?